Terry A. Blair was born on the 16th of September 1961 in Kansas City, Missouri. He was born to a single mother called Janice Blair. Janice was not well educated and left school at the age of 14 with no qualifications. She suffered badly from mental health issues. She had 10 children and Terry was the fourth eldest. They were an incredibly poor family and lived in the area of Prospect Avenue, well known for a majority of its families living close to or on the breadline. Terry's family were a well-known family with the authorities. In 1978, when Terry was aged just 17, he was woken by gunshots. To his horror, he saw that his mother had shot her drug-dealing boyfriend, Elton Gray. He was instantly dead and on the floor of their home. She was arrested, and during her case, she entered an Alford plea, which meant that she was automatically found guilty, but as she refused to admit any part of the murder, she maintained her innocence. Her mental capabilities were also tested, and eventually she was given 5 years probation and a psychiatric order was placed on her, so she had to get help for her illness. Another family member by the name of Walter Blair, who was in fact Terry's brother, was also sent to prison. When he was released, he went on to kill Catherine Jo Allen for just $6,000, and this was to stop her from testifying against a friend in court. Walter was caught and sent to prison for murder to await execution, which was carried out in 1993. Terry's half-brother, Clifford Miller, was next in the family to be sent to jail. He was charged with the abduction of a woman from a bar, who he shot to wound in the arm. He assaulted her repeatedly. She managed to escape death, but still had a 2-month hospital stay. Clifford was sentenced to 2 life sentences plus 240 years. He will never be let out of prison. Juanetta Blair, Terry's sister, was the next family member to commit a crime. She and her husband Neola were both charged with stabbing a man to death. Juanetta had 2 young sons at home at the time of the murder. Both of those boys grew up and also became convicted killers. She killed again. This time it was her drug dealer boyfriend who was the victim. Terry was now aged just 20. Knowing that many of his family members were murderers, 6 in fact, and were all in prison for their crimes, he obviously saw that this was par for the course in his family. Terry had 2 sons called Terry Blair Jr. and Marcel Johnson. Their mother was called Angela Monroe and was only 19 years old. Terry and Monroe were arguing over the fact that he thought she was a prostitute, and during this heated argument, he snapped and killed her. She was 7 months pregnant. He went to court and protested his innocence, saying that she was a prostitute and such women made him angry. He was sent to prison for 25 years. He was out on parole on a few occasions during his release, but he always violated his terms and was recalled until he became eligible for parole in 2003, after just 21 years. Terry was now aged 42. In July 2004, a body was found and named as Anna Ewing. It was said that she died of an accidental drug overdose, but on further inspection, it was found that she had been strangled, and her death was now declared as a homicide. She was said to be Terry's first victim in his crime spree number 2. Not long after his release, on the 2nd of September 2004, 2 bodies of women were found by a neighbour who smelt something funny coming from a garage in the Prospect area, which was said to be abandoned. These victims were named as Patricia Butler and Sheila McKinsey. Both of the ladies were known prostitutes. The police launched a murder hunt, Much to their surprise, the very next day, a phone call came into the police headquarters from an anonymous male claiming responsibility for the killing of the two young women, both of whom had been strangled. The caller also identified that another body could be found only a short distance away. Police investigated this to be true. The day after that, on September the 4th, the caller called again and gave another location for the authorities to find two further bodies, which had been left near a busy road in part of some overgrown grass. The caller had made a promise to call again, but when information was made public that the police were tracing a mobile where the calls had been made from, the calls stopped. But finding bodies did not. A few further bodies were found. Another victim, named as Carmen Hunt, she was also a prostitute, and the next victim named as Claudette. And on the same day, Darcy Williams' body was found. Again, both were prostitutes, and all found in and around Prospect Avenue, now known as the Prospect Corridor. Women were coming forward in droves to make claim to be one of the victims, some of which had been sexually assaulted, and they were able to give a description of their assailant. These descriptions matched Terry, and so the police started to draw in closer to their man. The mobile phone was then traced as being stolen and only able to make 911 calls, but the data came out stating that all calls were made around the home of Terry. Police arrested Terry when his parole officer stated to them that he had not been able to maintain contact with his parolee. Terry was then questioned by the authorities regarding all of the murders. 6 days after his arrest, a badly decomposed body was found, and an autopsy later revealed that this was Nelia Harris, yet another victim to be added to Terry's charge sheet. And so, on the 15th of October 2004, Terry was charged with the first-degree murders of 8 women, 1 count of assault and 3 counts of sexual assault. Terry decided that he did not want a trial, so was able to avoid the death penalty. On March the 27th, 2008, the judge, John O'Malley from Jackson County, declared Terry guilty of 6 first-degree murders of all the women found in the Prospect Corridor, and gave the only possible sentence for such crimes in lieu of the death penalty. So Terry was given 6 life sentences and no possibility of parole. During the trial, Terry's defence team was able to stop the assault and sexual assault charges. They also were able to stop 2 of the 8 murder charges, that of Sandra Reed, who was killed by Terry, unbeknown to the police at the time. But while he was on parole for murdering Angela and also the murder of Nelia Harris, and they even tried to stop the charge of Sheila McKinsey's murder. But Terry's DNA was found on her, and this was overturned. The calls to the police could not be proven to be made by Terry, so were inadmissible as evidence against him. During the post-trial case, a voice specialist deemed that the voice was not Terry's, as it had an accent. This was later revoked, as the specialist did not have a lot of experience in this field. Terry still remains in prison in Potsoy Correctional Centre in Mineral Point, Missouri. Was Terry a product of a violent upbringing? Would he still have committed these murders if he hadn't believed that murder was the only way? Seeing his mum kill a man. Should he have been released after killing the mother of his children, even when he stated that he hated prostitutes? And a witness stated that he had said he would get rid of all of them. Terry offered no reason as to why he hated prostitutes so much, or why he wanted them dead. Maybe this was something that stemmed from the murder of his ex-girlfriend and the belief that she was committing prostitution while pregnant with his child. He could be a compulsion serial killer who chose prostitutes as his victims. Thank you for listening to Crime Busters. Please hit the like button if you have enjoyed this story. Please subscribe to us if you would like to listen to more crime stories from Crime Busters as we take you to the dark side.